Hello, I'm Yukiko, and welcome to my OC Yukiko Amaya Spotlight video. As I said last week, I'm still in catch-up mode, so unfortunately this is not on her birthday, but her birthday was August 18th, which makes her a Leo for anyone who's interested. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, I recommend checking out the playlist linked below or in a card above, or at least see Yoshio's video as it explains some of the more base stuff and will be very helpful, especially if you're not familiar with the Danganronpa series. And I also might reference some past characters like Yoshio just now that I have had finished videos on, as if you know them. But in summary, these are characters from my Danganronpa fangin comic, Despair Emporium. So if you know Danganronpa, you can get the gist of things. And quick disclaimer I always have to do, the Danganronpa series is meant for a typically older audience, and it includes adult topics, which is not limited to murder. But yeah, let's get into talking about Yukiko. Side note, I'm recording this audio kind of earlier than usual, so sorry if I didn't get to your questions on the community post if you posted it a bit later. I was gonna be busy later in the week. I will try to answer your questions that I didn't get to in the comments, as long as there's no spoiler questions. Also, as always, I'm not going to be talking about the art that's in the background, just enjoy watching these little doodle dumps that I have of Yukiko. But anyway, Yukiko Amaya is a reserved and cautious girl in the comic. She's a bit more guarded and untrusting of her fellow students compared to others. Because of this, she can come off as cold and often keeps to herself. No one knows what talent Hope Speak Academy scouted her for because she came out and said that she has amnesia and cannot remember anything related to it. Which admittedly is nothing new for the Danganronpa series, but there's always at least one mystery talent in the games and stuff. Had to throw one in. Some of the other students did become a bit more suspicious of her after that. She's kind of hard to trust. And I'm telling you right now that you're not getting actual answers about that talent from me here. Gonna have to stick around in the comic whenever I get to it to see that. And one of the Q&A comments was asking if there's a reason for her mysterious vibes, and all I can really say is yes, and her talent has a lot to do with that, but I really can't get into it. Yukiko is a hard character to make a video on. Yukiko also has a big dislike towards liars and is often cold towards them when truths are revealed. She tends to have no sympathy for those that lie about their actions. And now I'm going to quickly go into some inspirations of her character creation. Design-wise, she's inspired from a lot of cartoon, edgy/goth girls, you know the type. And I've released her free time events already, so I can say that in a bonus picture, I have shown that she has a very gothic family in general. Namely, some of her inspirations came from Raven from Teen Titans for kind of a general color palette, and then also Raven again, but this time from Ruby for her red eyes. Someone also asked about if her red eyes were red or brown, and I will say right now they are red. This is Danganronpa, that's just kind of normal here. Beyond that, I was just kind of having fun making a nonsense outfit that fits into the Danganronpa universe. She was also the first character in the cast in general that I made, so that's really fun. Some little lore here. And name-wise, I was going off Google and my small Japanese knowledge, so Yuki in Yukiko means snow/purify, and I wanted that to play off her colder nature. And I believe I chose her last name Amaya based on the night rain meaning that I found online. Though there are some other meanings that pop up when you Google. I picked her name many years ago, so unfortunately I don't really remember that much of her specifically. Overall, I know I wanted a dark ice queen kind of mysterious vibe with her name. And there is another character of Yuki in their name, and I kind of love how different those characters are from each other, but I'll get into her at some point when it's her time for a video. Now for more stuff about Yukiko. She keeps to herself a lot, as I said, and tends to slip away unnoticed at times. She hasn't really shown up that often in the comic outside of specific instances where she has to be there. Some of her actions lead to others becoming suspicious of her, and I don't blame them as she does tend to be missing during some very important moments. I'll get into it later. Yukiko also has eye bags often and looks a bit drained or disheveled at times. She can also be very blunt, and when she does speak up during trials, she tends to be right with what she says. She also has a pet black rabbit named Mari, which is short for Marigold, and she used to have 2 rabbits, but unfortunately the other one recently died, and she had planned to get another one to be a companion for Mari, but she was kidnapped into the killing game before that happened. While Yukiko tends to be a loner, some characters keep trying to break her shell. Yoshio, our main character, is often friendly, but another character, Kiara, often speaks up to her defense and seeks hanging out with her more than often than not, even apparently having a sleepover at one point to get to know her better. Some people are shipping Yukiko and Kiara. We'll have to see if that becomes a thing. Kiara is actually the next OC to get a spotlight video after Yukiko, so look out for that one. But now it's time for the main Q&A section before we head into more spoilery stuff. So time for rapid fire questions. First up, what are her least favorite things and what are her accomplishments in life? As stated earlier, she despises liars and she also hates bullying, especially if it's due to things that others just don't understand. And I actually can't get too deep into her accomplishments because it has to do with her mystery talent, but I will say that she has helped some people before and made quite a big impact. Next up, what does Yukiko do in her free time and what does she want for her birthday? Yukiko enjoys flower pressing and actually has colorful decorations and books at her home that kind of contrast her gloomy look. She's not very picky when it comes to things she'd want for her birthday. A safe gift would probably be something fitting with her fashion style. More questions, coffee or tea, and what kind? She's a tea girl and simply likes green tea, though of these choices, I think she would actually prefer hot chocolate. If she were to have a partner Pokemon, what would it be and why? I'm kind of leaning towards a Galarian Corsola because it's kind of sad and pretty. I comment no more than that. And then, does she have a canon voice claim? She's actually one of the few characters that I have that actually does. I imagine her to sound kind of like Veronica from Heathers the Musical. I believe that's Barrett Wilbert Weed, and I hope I said that name right, and I'm sorry if I didn't. Another question says, does she have a good personality, or is she moody and uncaring? As stated before, she can be kind of moody, but she's more guarded, if anything. She's more so suspicious and untrusting than moody, and she has had and will have some moments of emotions breaking through the shell. What's her favorite flavor of ice cream? Cherry ice cream. If she could choose one person to be on an island with, who and why? With the characters in the comic, she'd probably choose Kiara because she's the most comfortable around her, and Kiara is a very logical person. Another good choice would probably be Daiki. He's an archer and stuff, and he has talents that can probably help survive on an island. So logically, she'd probably go for someone that wouldn't butt heads with her. Outside the main cast, probably her mom, since she's not close to most people in general. What kind of music does she listen to? I'll just say and give a range from Evanescence Wake Me Up to older Taylor Swift songs. Cats or dogs? Cats, but in general, she prefers rabbits over anything. If she was in the Soul Eater series, what would she be, a Meister or a weapon? I'm leaning towards Meister, but that also might be because I kind of suck at thinking of weapons, but I kind of see that as a vibe for her. I also maybe see her being mistaken for a witch at times. Side note, thank you for reminding me of Soul Eater. I kind of want to rewatch that now. And I also need to point out the question that said, is there a reason why she looks male, female, gay, and straight at the same time? Because that made me laugh when I saw it and I immediately shared it with some people. I don't know what to tell you beyond she's a lesbian. And character design go burr, I guess. Also, Yukiko is one of the characters who has her free time events out, as I previously stated. So I don't have to dance around some of the stuff that's in her backstory. With that said, I'm going to get into stuff said in them, so spoiler warning. During them, she's quite cold to Yoshio when he's trying to get to know her, as she keeps trying to get him to back off, and she's very suspicious of his motivations. She repeatedly states the fact that she does not remember her talent and thinks that he's just trying to interrogate her, to figure out her secrets. She also points out that she's a lesbian at one point in case he's trying to date her or something. And she revealed that she disliked her old school and mentions that the other kids bullied her for being haunted and called her a witch at times. Her dad ran a morgue and her mom ran a funeral home, so she was kind of surrounded by death constantly. But it never really bugged her personally, just other kids were mean about it. And an earlier question asked who was her best friend and what brought them together, and her only real friend was Hana from her school, who was very nice and got to know her when others wouldn't, and they did actually date. But unfortunately, she was killed at some point before the comics start, and kids at the school actually blamed Yukiko for being cursed. And it's a subject that kind of hurts her to think about. She's very bitter towards judgmental people and stuff. Yukiko's love for flower pressing is actually due to her past girlfriend, Hana meaning flowers and stuff. Also, side note, I kind of want to make an animatic or something like that with I Want to Be Your Girlfriend by Girl in Red. With these two specifically before they got together, partially due to the girl being sung about in the song being called Hannah, while her girlfriend is Hana. We'll see if I ever do that. I do have another potential PMV animatic other thing planned for Yukiko as a general thought that I have. But that would have to be in the future because it has some spoilers for future stuff that I can't really mention beyond that. And for a short section with a bigger spoiler warning for the main comic itself and not just the free time events where you learn about backstory stuff, we're gonna get into that now, so spoiler warning for that if you're not wanting to see it. Basically some plot points that happened, so just heads up. You can leave here if you don't want to see it, but it's not that much. But Yukiko has not been present for any main investigation so far. There's only been 2, but that's still a little suspicious to some people. She had been in her room for the bulk of each. She slipped away during the first one unnoticed when the investigation was starting, and she later claimed that she didn't feel good when she refused to let other people search her room for some evidence. And she also slept through most of the second investigation as she was grieving the death of her rabbit, who had unfortunately been a casualty of the chapter's motive. And the scene of Mari's death reveal is actually one of the few where Yukiko has a small moment of emotions. She gets kind of mad at June, who's trying to hold back the Polaroid, and she looks at it and then eventually just kind of deflates and then leaves. Understandably so, she's quite sad. There's a lot to Yukiko as a person, but unfortunately, as is the case with mysterious characters, most of it is currently unknown spoiler territory, so this is gonna have to be the end of the video. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble about my OC, and I hope you liked the art in the background too. If you enjoyed and haven't already, I'd appreciate if you could like, subscribe, and check out my other socials linked below. It includes the Despair Emporium Instagram if you want to read the comic. Again, it's an Insta comic, so you have to scroll down to the bottom and then go up to see it in order. My commissions are open if you'd like to support me that way, and like I said, I'm playing catch-up with my OCs that I missed for this series, and I do still have, 2 birthdays that I missed, so I should see you next week with one that I missed in September. With that said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!